Hello, hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. I am trying out for the first time, at least in my video recording content creation days, trying out the full screen mode of the game. So let me know if you guys prefer this style of overlay over the previous one with the background and the fun motion there. But we're trying out, at least for the next couple of videos, the full screen mode view. So yeah, let me know if it matters at all to you in the comment section down below. But today's topic is going to be the latest iteration of the summon pool, specifically the High Elves summon pool, and it is the return of faction unity champions as the headline champions. But alongside of that, we do have one of the more recent champions in the game associated with the current, I guess, return, or the Web of Corruption, I believe is the name of the event. Yeah, she's one of the newer champions in the game, this High Elf here, and honestly, I wouldn't mind getting her, I'm not gonna lie. But she has a buff strip lockout combo with increased accuracy, which is a really solid opener. She also has a AoE poison with a turn meter fill, and then she can activate poisons on the A1. And for those who know me, know that I'm a huge fan of poison and poison activation, so I wouldn't mind having her. But just in general, at least for me on High Elves, I definitely struggle to deal damage in that faction in hard mode faction wars, and so having a potentially tanky support who can also deal damage via poisons and poison activation would be a solid boost to my account. But of course, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Those are the two headline champions. Of course, everyone I think by now is familiar with Fine Blade of Aravia, but well known for Hydra, Chimera, manual type runs to maximize your damage by resetting a single target, block damage, counterattack, great for Chimera, great for Hydra. However, this is also just a generic High Elves summoning pool, meaning that there's a bunch of champions from the High Elves alongside of them. And as far as the other legendaries are concerned, there's a couple of honorable mentions here that are pretty solid. Lanatharel is one of the most powerful ally attack champions in the game because he brings in all allies, which is great across all pieces of content, more specifically like Hardbone Fire Knight and variations in the Cursed City. Wallmaster Atharan, great enemy max HP double hitter, super strong for that. And then I guess Highkeeper Prisma, honorable mention, we're one of the revivers who can kind of do a little ally attack with the person who revives. Lysandra, still kind of one of the speed queens of the game, even though she's been eclipsed by the likes of Shuzhen and superior champions, but she can still do work in like Dark Fae, for example. Excellent for that. And then honorable mention once again to Tetra Rhymehyde, who is a solid support defense type champion with good buffs to protect your team, increase defense, block debuffs, as well as AoE Perfect Veil, which is a very rare commodity amongst champions, not even just legendaries. In terms of the epics, it's definitely a lackluster showing here, but if you're still working towards Lady Mikage, you do have a couple of them up for grabs here. You've got Endalia and Elysania, but as far as the ones that are actually useful for progression and whatnot, Neldor is great for hard mode Fire Knight in all variations and all creeds. Skaramis, heavily underrated in my opinion champion, but really solid buff duration decreaser, but also more importantly the AoE provoke that is affinity friendly, great for progression in faction wars, normal and hard mode. Tyrell, honorable mention, but he is the most accessible debuffer in the faction, granted it's on a 4-turn cooldown AoE. And then Royal Guard, definitely old school, but still one of the few enemy max HP epics in the game. So yeah, overall, I would say that the main prizes are definitely good and probably worth your shot. The air quotes free shot that we're going to talk about in a few minutes here. But the legendaries, maybe half of them are decent, and the other half is kind of meh. And then same thing kind of for the epics, about half are good and half are practically useless. So this is definitely not the pool to kind of go crazy on for sure, but if you're enticed by the headline champions, then it could be worth your while potentially to go for it. So in terms of the rates, it's the pretty standard amount that we're used to. 6% chance to get a legendary, i.e. basically a sacred shard, 94% chance to get an epic, and I always like to emphasize the 94% chance. That means that 19 out of 20 times you are going to get an epic out of this and not a legendary. So just temper your expectations if you're going for one or a handful of summons. The most likely outcome is an epic champion. In terms of getting yourself that free summon, for once it is actually an excellent opportunity for lots of things that are kind of overlapping. You can see that I already have 40 that is saved from the last summon pool where I did not pull it. I still earned it from the challenge tournaments, but I didn't spend it, so I'm forced to at least use one roll on this pool, but I might use both of them on this one again, because I do think at least one of the headline champions is cool, and I technically already have Fina on my account, but I digress. So at 1,030 points in the Soul Chase tournament, you do have an opportunity to get yourself the air quotes free summon from the 40 fragments here, but that's kind of like an ancillary prize. The main appeal, I would think, for a majority of people is the fact that there are boosted rates going on in the Altar of of souls. So if you check out here, you have boosted rates on 5 and 6-star souls from mortals, and then a boost on 6-star souls from immortals. So of course this is not the best peak rates that we've seen, because they would also include a 2x on 5-star for immortals and or a 2x on 6-star for eternals. That's like the best of the best that we've ever seen, but those are extremely rare. So this is kind of your standard as far as boosted rates are concerned, the minimum I should say for boosted rates. So I think again this is the main appeal, the boosted rates on the mortals and immortals. If you wanted to pull them anyways, you get some points in the soul chase just by doing so, and then by proxy of doing that, pulling your soul stones to try and upgrade your souls, you will also get yourself a free shot in the summon pool. So kind of a good bang for your buck in terms of the soul stones here. The good thing is though, however, that I hinted at earlier, is that you don't actually have to, you're not forced to use this summon once you get, if you were to get it, you can just leave it in the tournament and claim it after the summon pool ends, unless you will save it and stockpile it for the next summon pool if you don't care about any of the champions in this particular summon pool, which again is what I did in the situation I'm in, where I already have 40 despite the soul chase going live today. So in terms of a formal recommendation, if you're already pulling your soul stones for the soul chase, for the boosted rates rather, then you'll probably get enough points if you have enough soul stones in the soul chase, and then that will convert into a free summon that you could use on this summon pool or the next one. Or if you want to go super booster style, you can stockpile these forever and ever and hope for a god mode summon pool that you might be able to get a cool legendary from in the future. As for me personally, I've been waiting for the stars to align for a good use of my soul stone. So I've been sitting on a lot of them for a very long time, and definitely I can say with my chest too long for sure, but I just don't like wasting my soul stones, because generally my opinion of them is that most of the time, especially the mortals, don't really give you anything. So if I'm going to waste them, so to speak, I want to make sure I'm getting something for my supplies or my resources, i.e. stuff, rewards in the soul chase in this case, a shot at a current or future summon pool. It was also a good return on that, or guaranteed champion and a deck of fate, stuff like that. But those are typically the opportunities where I like to go for, where it's boosted rates plus something else, just in case I get bad luck and I don't get anything out of the soul stones themselves. I can walk away with a mythical chaos or a legendary tome, or in this case a Prism Shard summon. That being said, because I have so many mortals at the moment, I can definitely max out the entire soul chase. So we're going to go all the way toward the 2500 or whatever the maximum reward is, and then we're going to stop there. And probably we can do that without having to touch any of my immortals. And you can see here I've built up 29 over time, but I still technically have what, 40 almost in terms of coins, and I have what, 6 eternals in terms of coins. I haven't really been spending a lot of my coins recently on essence, because all the champions that I would like to level up, most of the champions that I have leveled up on my account to high levels of blessing, I've done literally just waiting and farming them via the market, and I was just not in the mood to kind of start that process over again. I wanted to wait for a summoning event just to see, in case I get a 4-star, 5-star or something that kind of puts me a lot closer than having to farm these, the next 3 champions from 0 to all the way up to 6, but I digress. Regardless, even if you only have a handful of soul stones in the soul chase, it's definitely worth it to try and get the first 2 milestones, because it's like 300 energy, 150 gems, which is a lot of, again, a good bang for your buck in terms of maybe like worst case like 40-ish mortals is what it would cost you to get that many points, unless you have horrendously bad luck, which of course is possible. But even then, just kind of getting the first 2 rewards in the soul chase is always a good investment. But like I said, in this case, we're going all in towards the 2500. So we're not going to rip through every single mortal. There's no point going beyond what's offered in the tournament itself in terms of the guaranteed rewards. And we're definitely not going to try and win a crazy tournament, because this is definitely a whale fest, especially during boosted rates. But anyways, without further ado, let's dive into the soul stones here. Again, we're just going to run through the mortals, and basically we're just going to add up all the points and get as close to, if not be it slightly beyond 2500, and see what we can get in that amount. And I don't even know, it could be 150 mortals, could be 200, could be some number in between, unless we're horrendously lucky. I guess it could be lower, but these are mortals after all, so I do expect to see really low values overall, and every once in a while we should get it, hit high in terms of an epic, a legendary and whatnot, and kind of go from there. So 62 points is where we're kicking things off, and yeah, as expected there, these are mortals after all. Legendary, the first one of the day, it's a 2-star for Noljua. Okay, a more recent fusion who I tried out in Hardbound Faction Wars, and she didn't really do all that much in my particular instance, and Mavara was way better as a proper healer reviver type champion, but nonetheless it's 2 stars for her. She had 0 before, so we'll definitely take it. Hellborn Sprite, unfortunately that is a less than where she is currently. As far as my wish list is concerned, I think for legendaries I have Lydia on there. Ooh, first mythical of the day, Sigfrind. I'll add that to my collection of Sigfrind souls. Second legendary, Arathia, after the buff. Don't have her though, unfortunately. Cythalia, 1-star, don't have her either. 5-star epic, that's good for the points. And then, wow, again, a lot of legendaries there. 283, great points. And a 1-star Shiromani, I think that's exactly where my Shiromani is. That might be an upgrade for Sir Artemage. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, I think my wish list right now, I can look later, I guess, but I think it's Lydia, Yoshi the Drunkard after his buff. I've been using him as my like secondary speed champion after Arbiter, and then Bayek, of course, is who I got from very, very good fortunate luck and during his 2x 10x session a few months ago. Plus 30, I think we're at 400 and something, so let's call it 450-ish. So good ways to go, but I do think, I guess, well, in 30 mortals there is what we needed to get the first, 300 points or 150 points. I forget what the number is, but in order to get the first 2 milestones. So again, kind of showing you that it's a relatively low cost investment to get a decent reward in terms of the bare minimum of the Soul Chase. Bunch of rares and epics, low tiers, a bunch of wishlist procs, but not stuff that we care about, or well, stuff that we care about, but it's not at a level in which we would need it to be. So somewhere around, we're approaching 500 if I had to guess where we are roughly so far. So lots of souls to go, or lots of Soulstones to go, lots of summoning to do here. 64. Yeah, we're definitely low rolling. 1-star Aphodus, don't have him, and it's another mythical soul for the collection, although I probably have a higher tier soul for him. I'll have to check that a little bit later. But yeah, we're not doing so hot here in terms of the rates overall. 2-star Fushan. I think my Fushan is at 2 stars already. 2-star Supreme Elhain. I think my Supreme Elhain is at 1-star, so we'll take the extra attack on her. 5-star rare, don't really care about those. Somewhere around 600-ish points. Of course, when we fill up our inventory here, I'll go check in on the champion chase and the soul chase and see where we are. But yeah, it's mental math, somewhere around 600 or so, give or take. Another low set, yeah, 33 points. Nothing special there. We're hitting Hellborn Sprite, but unfortunately I need her to be like 5-star, 6-star for it to be an improvement, unfortunately. 4-star Duden the Runic, that might be an upgrade for him, although the 5-star would have been better for the extra resistance. 1-star Goffred, I think he's at 0, so that might be an upgrade. 1-star Matthias Black Plume. Oh, doesn't even show his surname. Well, I don't remember. Black Flag, I don't know. But trash champion, but regardless, I don't have him. Whoa, 500 points in the tournament. We got a spoiler there. All right, what do we get? This got to be great. It's not, okay, the 2-star legendary was not the points. Another legendary 5-star. That might have been where the points are, or maybe even more. 2-star Shuzen. I actually have a 6-star Shuzen soul, believe it or not. Yeah, I guess the 5-star legendary. But don't have a best, so it's unfortunate, but it's great for the points. And then 2-star Shuzen, again, I have a 6-star for her, but I don't have her either. So both of those are, well, I'll probably keep the 5-star soul for a best, even though I'm not going to use it. But Shuzen soul 2-star will be sold. Cleopteryx, I think she is at 1-star, so that might be an upgrade to get to 2-star. So that jumps us up from the 700-ish points to 1,200. So we're approaching halfway. Maybe we are exactly halfway to the 2,500 maximum in the Soul Chase, and we're brought back down to Earth immediately. Not much to say about there. 50 points, so let's call it 1,300 or so in the Soul Chase. Legendary 2-star Mishinaki. I do have an army of Mishinakis on my account. I have 3 of them. Granted, the 3rd one has been retired as of recently, so this might be an upgrade for one of them to be slightly higher, so we'll definitely take that, although the attack is useless on Mishinaki, unfortunately. The Hellborn Sprite is definitely mocking us today. That does seem to be the case. I guess we're also just kind of looking in general for, the wishlist proc on a legendary. That would be really, really cool. 1-star Toshiro. Unfortunately, I think I have a 5-star soul for him. Don't have the champion, so it doesn't really matter either way, but that gets sold for points. 3-star Anax, that's exciting, although I think mine's slightly higher than that. We should be nearing the edge of my inventory space here shortly. So if I, again, tracking somewhere around 1,800 points, give or take, somewhere around there if I had to guess. And I do have to guess because I don't remember. Another mythical, and it's a 1-star Mezamel. My Mezamel is at 4-star, but at least it's a mythical that I actually have on my account. So beggars cannot be choosers. Next 10 pop. What do we got here? Bunch of rares. Okay, we got a 5-star rare. That's not a ton of points. Legendary, not from the wish list, but it is a 4-star, so that's decent for the points. Plus 200. Yep, we'll definitely take that. 6-star rare. I don't keep 6-star rare souls. I don't really build rares unless I really need them for specific content. And if their soul, or if I get a soul for a champion I don't use, rares, then I just sell them. There's no point keeping it, at least in my opinion. 1-star Aileel, don't have the champion, but we'll take it for the points. 3-star Glakead of the Meltwater. Used to be higher up on my wish list for legendaries, but I still don't have him. And then 6-star for Volgoth. Okay, there we go. We finally got the boosted race to proc on someone that we actually have. So that is an upgrade. In fact, that is the maximum it can be when it comes to the souls here. Oh, wow. Actually, all of my Mishinakis are at 1-star. So I guess Mishinaki Prime, we can take him to 2-star. Start off with that. And then, yeah, let's focus in a little bit here. And where is my Volgoth? Yeah, Volgoth is going from 2 all the way up to 6 stars. So that's great. I still use Volgoth. He's still one of the best, in my opinion, Go Second champions in the game. I have him in a very slow bolster set. So this will give him a bit more HP, which will make the shield bigger, more resistance, more accuracy. And the speed is kind of irrelevant. He's really just a meat shield. But the more important thing is that we got to change the wish list because we don't want him on there anymore because he's maxed out at 6-star. All right, I guess we could put Basher back in. He is currently at 4-star on my account, but if I can get him to 5-star, 6-star, he'd be a little bit better. I still use him on a regular basis because at least on my account, I only have 1 lockout, which is Fabian, of course, and I do need, for 3 or tag team arena, I do need, alternatives sometimes here and there to kind of make up for the gap. So let's do the last 10 pop here. 170 mortal looks like by the count there at the bottom. I do think we're somewhere in the low 2000 range. Hopefully they don't overshoot. Ooh, a 3-star for Queen of Hearts. She is one of my most wanted void legendaries on my account, who I don't have, but I would love to get her, and that's great. 3-star soul is waiting for her if I do ever get her 2-star on the Coffin Smashers. All right, so let's collect all of these. Let's level up some people, and then let's check in on the soul chase and kind of see where we are. I don't think we overshot. We did get a decent amount of points there in the last few 10 pops, but I think we're relatively safe from having overshot. So we're probably in the low 2000s. I think that's kind of where my mind is at, somewhere around 2400, give or take. So shouldn't be much further along with in terms of the Soulstone. So I guess my initial estimate of roughly 200 is about right, which is kind of cool. So yeah, 2-star for Supreme Elhain, sudden upgrade, 2-star for Fushan, 2-star for Noljua, who is just sitting in the reserve vault, but nonetheless, let's give her a 2-star. Don't really need her much anymore. Like I said, Mavara was a much better support, so to speak, for Faction War, so I just benched Noljua basically immediately when Mavara came out. Good thing that they were relatively one after the other, although I guess kind of regret 6-starring her in the end, but beggars can't be choosers. Extra HP and defense for Duden. He is kind of a tank with a shield as well, so that helps his shield size. That's good. 5-star for Sir Artemage. Okay, I don't really build him with accuracy, but at least we get the 4-star for the crit damage and the, no, he was already at 2-star, so we already had the attack. So yeah, extra crit damage, accuracy, resist he doesn't need, so more damage, I guess, overall. And I think that's it for the champions that I actually need and use. So then let's check in on the soul chase. Hopefully we're tracking things correctly, and we're at least above 1900. I think we're on par, so it's 2100. Okay, yeah, low 2000s as we guess. So good. We're gonna hold, actually well, it doesn't really matter. We can, no, we'll hold off, but we could claim that, but we'll just wait a bit. I'm gonna try and wait until the champion chase this weekend. Hopefully it's 2 extinctions, fingers crossed, but when the champion chase starts this weekend is when I'm going to use those 2 prism shards and get some free points, at least 250 points in the champion chase, and make it a little bit easier to hit the milestones for the ongoing fusion. So we have 2100 points. 400 points to go is all we need to do, but of course need to make some space really quickly before we get into that. Given that I don't actually pull my Soulstones all that often, and thus I don't actually look at my soul collection all that often, I often forget, or I guess when I look at it, it reminds me just how many legendaries in the game I don't have, because it's like, look at all of these. I mean, it's a handful, I guess, relatively speaking, compared to all the legendaries in the game, but lots of souls for champions that I just do not have, including the mythicals there at the top. And anyways, let's get back into it. Once again, 400 points remaining, so let's see what we can do with, I don't know, however many it's going to take, I guess. But again, we pulled 170 to start, so if we can get this wrapped up in 30, that would be perfect as far as predicted in terms of the 200 mortals. But obviously we're just going to go as long as it takes. 4-star Skeletor, literally the most useless soul possible, because we're in like a few days we're going to get split soul for him, but I guess we could sell it for the points or for the coins, so that'll be more coins. Dune Herald, I think his name, Zaharis, don't have him, but 3 stars good for the points. So that was 200, couple of 5-star rares as well, so I guess half of the gap remaining was there. Spoiler alert with the 32 points. Okay, this is a low roll. I guess we can just fast do it because we already know what the points are. So 230, so 170 to go is what's remaining. So let's keep it going there. Nothing exciting there. Bunches of rares and epics. See what we can get on the next 10 pop. Another tease from the Hellborn sprite of the 1-star Basher. You hate to see it. At this point, I think it's pretty much locked in that the highlight from this session is just going to be the 6-star Volgoth, which is, it's not as exciting probably as, a crazy mythical 6-star champion or whatnot, but we have to, lower the expectations because, once again, these are just immortals. I could obviously pull some immortals, but because I have the opportunity to do this entirely with mortals, I'd rather save my immortals for something that is more important in the future. It could be a deck of fate, could be something else, who knows. So all these small onesie twosie things were another 100-ish points, so we should be about 70 points away, give or take, getting closer. So maybe within the next 2 or 3, depending. Well, I guess if we kind of continue on the track that we're on, we get 30 here, 30, 40 here, we should be done in a couple of 10 pops, or we can just be done right now with a crazy 6-star legendary something. No, bunch of epics and rares. Cool, 51 points. All right, so this should do it. Actually, you know what? Let's be responsible. Let's check. Let's see if we're actually done already. Yeah, we're just still a bit short. So let's do one more 10 pop, and that should put us over the edge, even if it's a horrendously low roll. So last chance for the day to get something crazy. 5-star rare, that's probably going to do it in terms of the points, even though it's not as exciting. And 4-star rare, a little bit of help there. Legendary, 1-star for one of the new guys, Nossin the Bull or something. I forget his name, but don't have him obviously. But yeah, 71 points. Should definitely do it. So 60 plus 170, 230 was the final number in terms of the mortals that we pulled. And we still have 400 to go. Still have my Eternals, and we still have immortals in it. In fact, we effectively gained Immortal Soulstones from the session. So yeah, we're up to 46 plus 29. So 65 immortals banked for something useful in the future. But yeah, this is pretty much what I'm talking about when it comes to, my account, when it comes to Soulstones. It's not about, being unlucky or lucky per se, but just kind of commenting that for the most part, at least for me in my history with Soulstones, they usually don't net anything crazy on average, which is why I don't feel compelled to waste them willy-nilly on kind of smaller rewards. I want to make sure I'm getting something if I don't get anything out of the Soulstones themselves. And again, you could argue 6-star Volgoth, definitely the highlight of the day, but it's not as exciting as like, oh my god, the 6-star Bayek or whatever that could have popped out there. So no change to the legendary wish list. We're kind of still on square one. I literally think all of them each have a 1-star soul that I bought from the Soul Merchant, and yeah, not even an upgrade for any of the rares. Literally just looking for like a 5-star, 6-star for the rares, which the boosted rates are on there, but apparently not for the rares, although we did hit them a bunch of times. But yeah, I guess, that's it. That's going to do it for today's session. We can take a look at Volgoth's stats now that he's been supercharged with the 6-star soul. So one of the few champions on my account that is 6-star awakened +4 in terms of the epics at least. And yeah, so he's got a little bit more HP, so nearly 120,000 speed. Again, more speed, but he's super slow. He's just a meat shield. But yeah, definitely the resistance and the accuracy is good. So he's a little bit more resistant to other things. But again, most of the time he just needs to be there and just take hits, and spread the healing around. But a little bit more accuracy might allow him to land the provoke a little bit more often here and there. But yeah, good enough. That is going to be our consolation prize, so to speak, for the session. Let me know in the comment section down below if you were also pulling some of your Soulstones for the Soul Chase, and let me know what you got from those summons. Did you get anything better than a 6-star epic? Let me know all of that and more in the comment section down below. As always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit the like button down below. It really just help out the channel, and feel free to hit the subscribe button down below as well, if and only if you're enjoying the content overall on the channel for more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.